Burada Londra'da Peter Gabriel'le birlikteyiz Caroline stüdyolarında. Then how are you?
I'm very well indeed, thank you.
We were in Real World Studio. It was 2 years ago, I think.
Yeah,
And we had a beautiful time there.
I'm glad.
We had a beautiful album
Good.
with a beautiful studio.
Fantastic. That's
And
what we like.
we were staying there. Also, your cook, the French guy.
Yeah,
I don't know if he's still there.
he's still there.
And he was cooking a beautiful meals to us,
Good.
you know.
No,
And we had really a great time there.
Good.
Now,
I think if you get the food right, everything else is possible.
Peter, it is a very tough task to interview you because it's like to interviewing 6 people.
I move very fast.
Yeah, you are a musician, innovator, actor, human rights activist, businessman, and also very important humanitarians of the century. As a musician, you have already achieved everything from writing film scores from Martin Scorsese to getting inducted to Rock and Roll Hall of Fame twice. How we can handle it, all of this?
Well, I think as an old man, you don't take any of that very seriously. You know, it's great. I mean, you know, being a pop star, it's a fun place to visit, but it's a lousy place to live. You know, I think people who can't go out to the supermarket because they get recognized and all that stuff. So I only had a short period in the 80s where it was like that for me. So I think since then, I've learned just to follow interesting things. So I do, well, I think it's a bit like dogs in the park, you know. You sniff something interesting and you jump on it.
And you jump for all of it.
I jump a lot, yes.
And how you can find time for that?
I'm not very good with that. I'm not very good at managing my time. And now, you know, I'm a dad again. I've got 2 boys, 13 and 6, and I do the school run every day. You know, so I want to be a active dad and my grandpa now. So I want time for family life. I have 3 grandchildren. So, yeah.
Okay. Also, when you were 19, you were playing flute.
Yeah.
In the Kathmandu, recording of the Kathmandu.
Yeah, with
How is that?
with Cat Stevens as
Influence
Yusuf
your
Islam
music.
was then. I liked his music a lot, and I was trying to persuade his producer, Paul Samuel Smith, to work with Genesis because I thought he was a great producer. He really got great sounds and knew how to balance things. And he eventually agreed to work on a tape we did for the BBC, which is to accompany a visual artist. And I got to know him a little through that. I was a bad flute player. I don't play well. But when they were trying to find someone to play on Yusuf's record, or Cat Stevens as he was then, I think I was probably the only flute player Paul knew, so he gave me a call, and I was very excited and very nervous. So they taped me just before I was playing, and you could hear this sort of nervous panic. But I was proud of that.
Yeah, it's a great stuff.
They're good records, yeah.
They're great. Also, in the 60s, Kathmandu was visited by Jimi Hendrix, Janis Joplin, Bob Marley, also Mick Jagger.
Yeah.
And it was seen like a metaphoric haven.
No, I think there's always been an allure from the East, you know, to, I mean, I'm an old hippie too, so this was a...
We all hippies. I'm 68 generation.
Right, I'm 65 now, so, it's from 68.
8th generation.
Right,
yeah.
okay, yeah.
All we are soul of hippie, you know.
Yeah, that was Very exciting time because it was the first time when young people seemed to be in charge of the world, or at least having real influence. And so there was all this idealism, and some of it wasn't realistic and didn't pan out, but I think it opened a lot of us to all sorts of ideas. And in fact, you know, one of the Bibles then was a thing called the Whole Earth Catalogue, and I'm a good friend now of the guy who started that, Stuart Brand, and still it's full of ideas, and the subtext there was access to tools. And I'm still following that example. We have a project called the toolbox.org, and some of my benefit work, it's about practical tools for people. So that's just one example, but I think there were a lot of things from that time which just allowed us to think differently and not be afraid of the world.
Yeah. I know you are never afraid of the world.
Oh, I am sure. I'm as afraid as anyone, but I think now I've learnt when you have an idea to follow it and chase it.
Okay, in 1994, you have starred in a short film, Recon.
Yeah, there was some other talk but I mean, to be honest, I had a place in film school, but that was as a director, and in a way,
as a director.
that was more interesting to me.
That's more interesting, of course.
Well, I mean, you know, I admire great actors, but I don't think I could do that. And in a way, I think you have to sort of hollow yourself out to suck in this other personality. And whereas I'm more comfortable just pushing myself out on the world.
I just did one this year.
You did?
Yeah, I did one
Great.
this year, yeah.
And how was it?
I was the owner of a bank, you know.
Oh.
And there was a group, who want to be famous, they want to be famous, and they stole the bank.
Ah, great.
My bank, you know. And that's why I know what's to be artist to make a role, you know. It's not easy.
No, it's a lot harder than you think.
Yeah, it's harder than music to make music. I believe this, you know.
Well, and the other thing is, you know, a good director can make a bad actor look good.
Yeah.
But an okay director, or someone who's great with visuals but not with people, can sometimes, you know, you have really bad acting from really good actors. So you're completely at the mercy of the director.
But personally, I believe that you could act beautifully.
Well, that's very kind of you.
Feelings, I don't know. And in the it was the same year nearly that you did video for Sledgehammer.
I think that was that 86 maybe? I'm not sure.
That was the video chosen by Rolling Stones, the best video ever.
I think it's still got the more views than any other, which one of the old bosses of MTV told me. But it was a wonderful director, Stephen R. Johnson, and we had just a great creative team. There were people from Aardman Animation and the brothers Quay, and so a lot of people throwing in ideas. And there weren't any rules then. You know, we had a reasonable budget. I mean, in those days, the artists would have to pay for it anyway in the end, but it was an opportunity really to try doing stuff, and it took about a week of filming and about a month to prepare it, but it was a lot of fun.
First time when I watched this video,
I
was so exciting.
Great.
And really, I said, wow, man.
Yeah.
It was a great video. Really, it was a great stuff.
Great, thank you.
Also in 2006, you were awarded Man of Peace Prize by Nobel Peace Prize laureates. 2008, you were also chosen by Amnesty International as an ambassador of conscience.
Yeah.
It's a great honor.
No, they are real honors, and they mean a lot. And you get more of them when you're old.
And can you talk about the organization that you founded by you Witness
Yeah. Well, you know, I wasn't really much involved with human rights when I was growing up, so it was just something I'd read about. And then when I wrote the Biko song about what was going on in South Africa, that was like a calling card. And then suddenly, you know, Bono calls up and says, "You got to come on this Amnesty tour." And then I started meeting people who've been tortured or seen some of the family members killed, and suddenly it becomes a real issue. You know, when you're looking at someone and they're telling their story directly, you feel it in a different. Whoops, that's the microphone. Drop my water too.
No problem.
You feel it in a different way, and then I became engaged, and I did Bono's job on a 88 tour, going around the world, and I hustled, you know, Springsteen and Sting and various others, Tracy Chapman, to come and join us going around the world for the Declaration of Human Rights, the 40th anniversary. And it was amazing. You know, it I think changed all of the musicians that took part. But what I found extraordinary was that people, you know, could suffer terribly, you know, lose a member of their family, but then the government could deny it and say, no, it didn't happen. You know, this is just propaganda. And it was very hard if you just had a written report. But when there was video, and you have either, you know, some evidence, or you have someone telling you the story directly, you know, we're pretty good at knowing when people are acting and when people are telling the truth. You know, I think a good test for that is listening to the radio. You switch on and you hear 10 seconds. Is it acting or is it telling the truth? And most of us feel it, you know. So we were just encouraging people to get video cameras out to wherever there was human rights problems, so people could then tell their stories. And that was the dream of Witness. And then, of course, the telephone company made sure that we had cameras in every telephone. So they did the job way better than we did. So then Witness changed in terms of helping people, training people, getting distribution, making sure the right people saw the video. And now we have a sort of new digital version so that we can embed metadata on the film as it's taken, which then means it can be used as evidence in a court or in the International Criminal Court, as has happened. And also with an InformaCam project where you can disguise people's faces. So you want to show, well, this is what happened in the protest, or people got beaten up here, but you don't want to show the immediate faces of the people sending in the film, so you can hide that but still show the rest of it.